Hey guys, Kelly with Indie Film Factory. Today's video is going to be centered on the topic of distribution. I had a filmmaker last week that I've been doing some consulting work with. They reached out to me. They had been sent a distribution proposal from a company. Now I can't name this company for legal reasons, but I can tell you this. They are known for distributing certain types of genres and have been around for a very long time. Now, let me start off by saying this. I have a distribution partner. This distribution partner has been extremely open with us. And they have also given us insights on various things in the marketplace that are designed to help me as an individual, as a business owner, grow and develop content, because at the end of the day, they need me to succeed as well. And that has been a really great relationship with my distribution partner. And I'm so thankful that I have these individuals who've been kind of watching my back. But there are still companies out there that are predatorial. And what I mean by that is companies that prey upon the insecurities and desperateness of filmmakers. So the first thing I want to start out with today is talking about you as the filmmaker. You make a movie. Most of you guys have no idea what you're going to do with it once it's done. All you know is that you're going to submit it to film festivals with the intention of getting distribution and making lots of money and driving around in a limousine. Now let me debunk this. Most distributors that I've spoken with have been not really that much amused on the laurel leaves, meaning they don't really care so much of how many film festivals you get into, unless you're obviously in like the big ones like Cannes or South by Southwest or Toronto or Sundance. I mean, but ultimately getting your movie into those festivals these days is like winning the lottery. I mean, it's very difficult. But at the end of the day, there's a big myth thinking that, if I get into a film festival, if I get into a bunch of film festivals, then yes, I'm going to get great distribution and I'm going to get things going. It's a myth. So in order to find a distributor, it's like, well, how do we do that? Well, there's great resources. There's this thing called the internet. There's also this thing called IMDb Pro. I sign up for IMDb Pro. I have access to thousands and thousands of different distributors, distribution reps, sales reps, people like that actually do this for a living. Now, you may be asking, well, do I really need a distributor? Well, the question for you would be, what's the goal of your movie? If your goal is to basically get recognized or to get some exposure, then finding a traditional distributor might be the best way to go about it, because they're going to be able to get you into places that ultimately you wouldn't be able to do on your own, like Netflix or Walmart or things like that. And so there are some things you can do without a distributor. You can hire an aggregator. Aggregators do a flat fee, and you pay them. You mostly keep a majority of your rights and the money that you make off of the sales that they get you into, but they charge a flat fee, and these fees can be anywhere between $700 all the way up to like $10,000. So aggregators can be quite expensive, but if they're a part of your overall budget, then maybe it's something worth looking into. However, there are distributors out there that are really great at placing content, like the people that we work with. They're really good at getting content into Walmart and getting content into various markets across the world. So they're very beneficial to us. So if you have IMDb Pro, or if you don't have it, get it, or do a search online and create a spreadsheet of different distribution companies. Look for companies that distribute the kind of movies that you're making. So if you've got a horror film, don't solicit it to a company that does documentaries. You'll be wasting your time. Send a query letter, a very brief letter that explains what your movie's about in a couple sentences. If you have a trailer link somewhere, leave a trailer link. And of course, have a way for them to respond back to you through email. I usually set up a letter, a basic form, and I send it out if I need to. I send it out to various distribution companies. And in the past, I've got a pretty good response rate because it's short and sweet. It's to the point. If they watch the trailer and they're interested in the movie, they'll get back to you. So let's say they get back to you. Typically what happens in a lot of cases is distribution companies will send you out a boilerplate distribution contract. And these are riddled with pitfalls for the independent filmmaker. What I consider an honest distribution deal is something that is mutually beneficial to both the distributor as well as the filmmaker. Now there's this big misconception about what distribution companies do. A lot of times distribution companies will claim that they have what they call expenses. And these expenses are for things like going to various film markets, marketing, DVDs, trailers, posters, and all that good stuff. And yes, those things are part of the things that distribution companies have to actually do. The bottom line is that a lot of the times they're going to be going to these markets whether they have your title or not. Plus, most distribution companies do not market your movie. Let me make that very clear. They do not market your movie because first off, it would cost thousands and thousands of dollars to market a title. So to spend, $10,000, $20,000 on running ads or doing kind of marketing is kind of counterintuitive to most distribution companies. So it's a myth in terms of what they do in terms of marketing. So one of the things that I always try to advise, the first thing I try to do is when you look at these contracts, these boilerplate contracts, a lot of times they want you to give everything, which means all rights, meaning everything. VOD rights, DVD rights, theatrical rights, rights for you to play it in an alleyway somewhere. So you want to be able to maintain and keep some of your rights. And the reason why you want to do this is because there are certain things that you can do with your content that you don't necessarily need a distributor for. So some of you guys have Vimeo channels and you have an audience or subscribers on your Vimeo channel. You might be able to monetize your movie and make a little bit of money on that. It may not be a lot, but at least it's something. And it gives you the ability to kind of experiment as a business model how you can do alternative distribution methods. So try to carve out some of those rights, maintain some of those rights for yourself. The second thing is a lot of these companies, they want to have a term that's like ridiculous because they make their money in tonnage. And so the more titles that they have in their catalog, the more they can do interesting deals and sell them in bulk deals and stuff like that. So what they want to do is they want to have long-term deals. It's not beneficial to you. And I think a short-term deal can always be renewed, but I always think you don't want to do anything more than 5 years. I think 5 years is even too long in some cases. So because at the end of the day, you want to have a limitation. So if these guys aren't doing a good job, you want to be able to have some flexibility. You don't want to be stuck with them for like 10, 15, 20 years. I've even seen some contracts that will be trying to get you for like 50 years. Like, really? That's crazy. That's ridiculous. You might as well just give away your movie to the person standing on the street. There's a big thing you also want to do is ancillary rights. Now, my attorney has always been very particular about this. They said sequel rights, anything that's a derivative. So like, for example, you may decide down the road you want to do a comic book, or you want to do a sequel, or you want to do a spinoff or a TV pilot or something like that. In that crazy event that could ever occur, you want to have the rights to do that. And especially if your movie is a success. Like if your movie is a success, and what I mean by a success is if it actually goes out and makes its money back, or it makes a profit on that, that's considered a success. And you may have an audience base that would be willing to watch a sequel or a remake or something like that. You want to have the ability to maintain that. So ancillary rights, sequel rights, anything that has anything to do with a movie outside of the movie itself, you want to hang on to those things. That's very, very important. The third point to the distribution contract, and this is probably the biggest one, is gross receipts. Expenses are a killer. And if you have expenses worked into your deal, more than likely, 9 times out of 10, you will not see any money, any return whatsoever on your distribution experience. And the reason for this is because, let's say, for example, you've got a $20,000 marketing cap, which is what these contracts will say. We have a $20,000 marketing cap, meaning that they can't really go over $20,000, but they're going to need to make their $20,000 back before you start seeing a dime. And so the problem with that is over the course of a year, your movie may only make $20,000 total in gross sales. And by the time a year has transpired, that distributor that you're working for already has 100 different new titles to their portfolio. And you think they're going to be worried about your little movie? You kind of go to the bottom of the basket. And so unfortunately, after the first year, the second year, third year, it gets a little more difficult to find new buyers that are buying older content. And so a lot of times it just becomes a flush. Your distributor makes $20,000 and you end up making zero. And so net deals, or what they're called net deals, expense deals, are really, really bad deals. So filmmakers get caught up on the percentage thing. They'll say, yes, I get to keep 70% of net. Well, what's 70% of zero? Zero. So my thinking is, don't get caught up in that. Only do gross deals. Gross deal means any money from the very beginning that movie starts making, you and your distributor split that money. Now, your distributor may say, well, hey, look, I've got expenses. My argument to them would be, I've got expenses. I'm the filmmaker. I made the movie. I went out. I shot the movie. The other thing that's important for your contracts, and listen, get an entertainment lawyer. I'm not an entertainment lawyer, so get one who works with you, who can work and understands distribution agreements. You know, not like a guy who does music or somebody. Find somebody that understands movie distribution and movie agreements. Definition of gross receipts. Very, very important, because you want to make sure it's clear that even the money that's collected from sub-distribution companies, because a lot of times some deals are done through sub-distribution, any and all monies derived from the sale transaction of your title belongs in definition of gross receipts. So that means any of that money you have claim to as part of that gross receipt profit. So those are the points that I want to stress to you. There's a ton of other little things and nuances. I do consulting. I do a lot of consulting, one-on-one consulting. We do workshops here at the Indie Film Factory. If there's ever a time where you think you would like to do a consulting session, I would be happy to do so. You don't have to be in Las Vegas where I'm located to do it, although it's great if you're able to meet face-to-face, but I can also do Skype. So reach out to us on our email and find out if there's something we can do to help, because at the end of the day, it's time for independent filmmakers. And this is my mission. This is why I do this. As an independent filmmaker myself, I feel like it is my mission right now to help encourage as many of you out there who are doing films to start thinking of this as a business, because I truly, truly believe that if we can all think of this as a collective industry, we will all see better success as artists. There won't be this, down and out starving artist syndrome that filmmakers suffer. And my goal is to end that. My goal is to end that. There's a lot of content out there, and there's also a lot of hunger for content. So we are in the best time ever to be a filmmaker. But you've got to be smart about it, and you've got to know how things are getting done in the industry, especially in the distribution space. So that's all I've got today. Be sure to subscribe to our website, and again, let us know if we can help in terms of consulting. That's all I've got for you. Have a great rest of your day.